Hi friends, I'm Keizle and today I'm going to show you how I created my October digital planner using my iPad, so let's begin. I recently created this digital notebook with flipping tabs, and if you want to create this or you want to know the step-by-step process, check out my new Skillshare class and you can watch it for free using the link in the description box below. In the class, I'm going to show you how to create the base pages and how to make the tabs move from one side of the digital notebook to the other side. And the digital notebook from the class is the one I'm going to use as a template for my October digital planner. If you have watched my previous digital planner setup, you know that I add my digital illustrations as a design element for my digital planners. And I again am going to do that this month. To create the designs, I'm going to export the pages of this digital notebook as a JPEG file and save it in the gallery. And I'm going to import the images in the Procreate app to create the design and add my digital illustration. This is the first page of the digital notebook and I will be using this as the cover page for the digital planner. I'm going to add the digital illustration I have recently created on the left page. I have been listening to the audiobook of the Truly Devious series by Maureen Johnson, and so I'm adding one of the quotes from the first book to my digital planner for this month. If you love mystery novels like Sherlock Holmes or Agatha Christie, I think you'll also like this series. This will be the cover page for my October digital planner. I will be creating individual Procreate canvases for each of the digital notebook pages if necessary, just to keep track of which page I have already created and to keep things organized. And the pages that I'm creating in the Procreate app are just the base design of each of the pages. They are not the final design because the other elements are easier to add using the Keynote app. If this is confusing, just join me in the creation process until the end. The page that I'm creating now is for the calendar page. I'm using the same digital illustration I have used in the cover page, and I will be using this digital illustration as the design element in each of the pages in the October digital planner, but I will be using it differently in each of the pages to vary the design styles. For the calendar page, I have selected the page area of the notebook first and then placed the digital illustration like this. And then I inverted the selection and activated the clear option in the layer of the illustration. This made the digital illustrations look like an actual design of the digital notebook page. To keep things organized in here, I've created the stack for the October Digital Planner page designs. The next page I'm going to create is the Mood and Sleep Tracker page. As I have said a while ago, the other elements for the pages will be added using the Keynote app. So for the tracker elements for mood and sleep will be added later on. So I'm going to leave this page like this for now. The next page will be used for my habit tracking page. I will be adding the design element in the middle of the notebook design, so to still keep the realistic feel of the digital notebook, I'm going to select these lines so that I can remove these areas later on. And I'm just loosely selecting these areas to make it faster. I am using the rectangle selection tool to make this easier. Once I have selected all the areas, I have saved the selection so that I can load it later on. Then I'm just making sure that this design element is centered to the page. Then load the selection and then use the clear option in the layer menu. And here is what it looks like. The next page is the first weekly planning page. For this page, I decided to include October 1st to 9. For the design elements, I am using the ellipse selection tool to select 10 circular areas to make them as the design for each of the date. To create the design, use the selection tool, and after selecting the area that I like, I use the transform tool, which is the arrow icon, to move the selection. I will just be repeating this process until I have selected 10. After selecting the 10 designs, I have deleted the digital illustration. Using the drawing guide in 2D, I am dividing up the page so that I can add 10 daily spaces for planning later on in the Keynote app. For now, I'm just placing them to where I want each of the elements to be located. Since the design elements are all located in a single layer, I'm using the selection tool to select one circular design element at a time and use the transform tool or the arrow icon to move the selected element. To add text in the Procreate app, go to the wrench icon and then add text. I'm going to add the dates and the day of the week for each of them. And that is the first week of the digital planner. For the next page, I'm going to kind of change the illustration. I'm going to use the lower level of the building and remove the upper level. I'm using the selection tool to select the areas of the upper story of the building. And then use the clear option in the layer menu. Since the design element is also in the middle of the notebook, I'm going to repeat the process I did in the habit tracker a while ago, which is to select the areas of the lines of the digital notebook using the rectangle selection tool. And then in the layer of the digital illustration, use the clear option again. This page is the second digital planning page, and I'm feeling like creating a simple plant design, so I just added 8 spaces for the daily planning and a notes area. And for the design elements, I'm just gonna add some plants. I'm using a brush I created and I am adding different layers of different shades of green to add the plants. I'm also going to do that same technique in the flowers. After creating my second weekly planning page, I decided to make this supposedly the journaling page for week 1 to be a planning page for another week. For the planning page of the first week, I'm going to enlarge the design elements and remove the dates. This makes the particular week more distinguishable since their design elements and overall designs are almost the same. And I think I'm going to do this on the journaling pages too. For the design of the fourth weekly planning page, I'm going to repeat the same element I have used for the calendar page, but I'm gonna use the lower part of the storefront illustration only. Now I'm going to prepare the different designs so that I can use them in the Keynote app. To do that, I'm going to turn off the visibility of the layer where the notebook designs are located and then export the design as a PNG file. And I'm going to do that in all of the designs. Turn off the visibility of the notebook page layer and then go to the wrench icon and under Share, select PNG and choose Save Image in the pop-up window. Now in the Keynote app. So this was the digital notebook I have created from the Skillshare class, and to add the designs, tap the plus icon, then photo or video, and then select the image. I'm going to add the designs of each of the pages. And I realized that I forgot to create some designs for the last pages. So let's go back to the Procreate app again and create a new canvas with one of the base digital notebook designs. This one will be for meal planning. For this page, I want to use the process I used for creating the first weekly page where I use the ellipse selection tool. And then turned off the visibility of the base digital notebook page design and exported this as a PNG file. Then go back to the Keynote app and add this design to the last page. For the second to the last page, I want this to be a writing page only, so in the Procreate app, I just resized the digital illustration and placed it in the right side of the page. This last page, if you have watched the Skillshare class, is accessible from any of the pages. It as if you want a secret page, then in Keynote, add the design to this secret page, which you can access. Now I'm going to finalize the design of each of the pages. The cover page will stay as it is, so I'm going to start in the calendar page. For the calendar page, I want to have the first 3 columns, which is for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in the left page, and the 4 columns for the remaining days of the week on the right page. I have added the columns using the table, and you can add it using the plus icon, and under the table category, I use the basic design. I'm not sure if my camera can pick up the lines for the table, but I have changed the cell border designs by changing the cell style and color. After setting up the cell border designs, I'm adding a shape so that I can clearly see the space where I can write, and to also differentiate the empty space and the planning page. To set it as the background, select the element, and in the brush icon under Arrange, adjust the slider here. To add the text in Keynote, tap the plus icon, and under Shapes in the Basic category, you will find the text option. To change the font style, font size, and such, select the text element and then tap the brush icon. After adding the title for this page, the final thing to do here is to add the dates. And that is the calendar page for my October digital planner. So on to the next page. This page will be my mood tracker and sleep tracker page. And I'm thinking of just adding simple tables similar to the table design of the calendar page. If you want to change the number of columns of a table, tap the circle in the upper right corner of the table, and for the rows, it is located in the lower left corner, and then increase or decrease the number in here. For the sleep tracker, the number of columns I'm going to use is 25, and for the rows, it is 32. I have only added 31 here because I got the dates wrong and I thought that the last day is only until 30, but I will correct that later on. For the mood tracker, I plan on just writing down the type of mood I'm having that particular day and then add a color that represents an overall vibe of the day. In general, I will be adding a color that will represent the overall vibe or mood of that particular day and then a note on what the different modes I have felt. The next page will be the habit tracker page. Last month, I have used a simple table where I just listed down the habits I wanted to track and then added some check marks for the things I did. But this month, I'm going back to the calendar style. It's not that the other one is not good, I just prefer using the calendar type this month. After creating the calendar for the habit tracker page, I realized the mistake I did in the mood and sleep tracker, so I corrected those first. After creating the template for the small calendar tracker, I duplicated the designs until I have enough. I decided to add 20 habits that I'm going to track this month. This does not mean that I will do each and every one of them every day. Some of them I really am going to try to do every day, but the rest are stuff that I just want to know when I did them, just to track them in general. For the first weekly planning page, since the space for the daily planning has been divided up, I'm just going to add the lines for the writing guide. I used the table to add those. To divide the writing space, I have changed the cell borders every 10 rows. To change the cell border style, first select the 10 cells, then tap the brush icon. Then under cell, go to the cell border. Select the cell border type and then change the line type. And then just repeat that process. Since the page to the right has the same number of divisions, I just copied the one I created and then adjust the writing guide. The design elements should be in front, so I selected the writing space and changed the arrangement and placed it at the back. After changing the arrangement, I will be adding the title for the page. To keep the consistency of the design and also to make the process faster, I have copied the title design from the habit tracker page and pasted it here. Then change the title page to October 1 to 9. The next page will be the journaling page and it will only contain the writing space, so I just copied the writing space design of the planning page and then made the cell border designs the same in all of the cells to remove the daily divisions. To change the cell borders, select the table and tap the brush icon, and under cell, go to the cell border option. Since this journaling page is particularly for the first week of October, I just copied the title from the planning page and just repositioned and adjusted them here. For the design element of the second week, select it and then go to the brush icon, and under style, you can lower its opacity. For this week, I want to try having circles for the daily planning spaces and see if they are okay. To add a shape, go to the plus icon and under shapes in the basic category, tap on the circle. I created the first few daily spaces and have set them up, and after setting them up, copy and paste to complete the spaces for the week. And to make it even, I have also added a space for weekly notes. To label each of these daily spaces, I'm thinking of adding the date and the day of the week in the middle, and later on, I'm just going to lower the opacity to make it look like it is part of the background. This way, when it is time to use the daily spaces for planning, the label are not too distracting, but at the same time, I still know which day they are. To add the writing spaces in the circles, I am again using the table I have already set up for the writing space from the other pages I have already created. I have decreased the number of the columns so that the table fits inside the circle. I have set up one, and to make the process faster, I have copied and pasted in each of the circles. For the journaling page of the second week, I copied the writing space and title design of the journaling page for the first week. But since the space here is bigger, I have readjusted the size of the writing table guide. I also don't like the background color, so I changed it to white. We can change the color of the selected shape using the brush icon, and under Style, tap the color, then choose from here. After changing the color of the background in the journaling page, I have decided to also change the color of the circles here in the planning page for the second week. Although my camera cannot really show it, but in person, dates are still visible. But to make it a little more visible, I have increased the opacity of all the circles. Back on the journaling page for this week, I've also changed the date in the title, and that is the second weekly planning page and the journaling page. For the third weekly planning page, since I have already created the daily planning spaces, all I have to do now is to add the title of the page. For the daily planning spaces, I am first adding the labels. The first one will be the weekly notes space, and the rest is the daily planning spaces. I have added the date and the days of the week. If you have been following along and you start your week other than Monday, I hope that you made the proper adjustments. Since I'm not comfortable writing without guides, I am again adding a duplicated copy of the writing table guides from the previous pages. I just decreased the number of rows and the size of it so that it can fit in the writing space I have already created. Then again, copy and paste them to make the process faster. I don't do anything but write and add some pictures in the journaling page, so I'm just gonna duplicate the design I have already created from the previous journaling pages. After adjusting the size of this writing table guide, I've also decided to change the color for the background shape to a lighter one. If you cannot find the color that you want under the color option, just swipe to the left and you can use the color wheel here. Now on to the fourth week. For the fourth weekly planning page, I decided to include the 31st here and remove the notes space. I added 8 daily planning spaces using a rounded corner rectangles, and for the title, since there is no space in the upper part already, I have placed the title vertically here in the upper left corner of the page. Then again, duplicate the writing table guide. I have set up the first two upper daily spaces, and I'm also adding the dates and the days of the week. After setting all of those up, I have selected the objects and then duplicated them for the other days of the week. And of course, don't forget to change the dates and the days of the week in each of them. For the journaling page of this week, since I love the vertical style of the title in this page, I just copied those along with one of the daily planning spaces and the writing guide, and used the elements in the journaling page. For this page, I'm still not sure what to do with this, whether it will be a monthly reflection page or not. I'm not sure yet, but it is more likely that I will use this for writing something, so I decided to add a writing table guide just in case. If you have created this digital notebook with me in my Skillshare class, you know that this last page is the secret page where you can access this using the line in the middle of each pages. You can use this page in any way that you want, but for me, I will be using this for meal planning for this month. I will just be listing the food I want to prepare and eat at breakfast, lunch, and dinner here to help me in preparing the grocery lists, and I like the design of the tracker spaces in the habit tracker, so I just copied the design there and made this. After creating one of the designs, I have duplicated them until I have created 15 of those, and then duplicated them again for the other page. Then duplicated another for a total of 31 spaces so I can plan for our meals every day. Once the setup is finished, it is time to export this as a PDF file. After importing the digital planner in the PDF annotating app of your choice, you can double check if the links are working and if the design are all right. If you're wondering how I directly imported this October digital planner to my yearly digital planner in the GoodNotes app, you can watch this video to the right. And if you want to see the setup I made last month, you can check this video to the left. If you have any video requests or want to say hi, leave them in the comment section below. This is Keizle, and until next time, bye!